Hello there friends, Blast Showdown is in full swing, meanwhile the pro scene is discussing cheats from Gamer Legion and also what will happen next with s1MPLE. The matches in the recent days weren't that interesting, but there have been a lot of noteworthy news, so without further ado, let's get straight to it. And we shall start, as always, with the roster changes. First assist after whatever happened to the previous heroic lineup was teamless for a while, but now he has finally found his new home, or should I say old home, because it's Ninjas in Pajamas. He once spent 6 years here as a player and now it's time to work in a new role. As they say, it's time to make NIP great again, because lately it's been hard to watch them without shedding a tear. And also, by the way, speaking of Ninjas in Pajamas, their new coach of NIP female team is noteworthy. I don't even know how to react. Maybe that's a promotion since he didn't have a team? Could he manage it? Just drop your thoughts in the comments below. The second piece of news is also about a veteran player, but this time it's about Dosa. He decided to end his career as a player. Ex-god, thank you for these long years, the legend, the myth. He will now transition to a role within the org and become the CEO. Dosa himself said that he doesn't feel up to the level of the team anymore, and while his boys progress and develop, he holds them back. And wow, I would say that's a noble gesture. That's cool. There have also been changes in energy. First, they put Dabs in the coach role because he clearly couldn't handle being a captain, and now they're replacing Fang. Their newcomer is Valkei, but they still lack a fifth. My guys, that's it for reshuffles, but here comes some other news. Here the sports director of Astralis gave a bit more details about their rearrangements, so to say, and it turns out Device really likes James' style. Here's a quote: "Many anticipated us locking for Danish IGLs, however, I also believe that there are examples of alternative approaches that can prove successful. I'd like to highlight Cadian for his tenure with Heroic. Perhaps I'm a bit biased, but I consider it some of the best looking CS ever played. While Device is extremely fond of James and all that he has done as an open in-game leader. I have no doubt that they also have some differences though, so I don't think we should expect Astralis to become Astralis Pro." Wow, my guys, that sounds pretty interesting. Once James was learning from Device's demos and now they've exchanged roles. Wow, so in that case, we're eagerly awaiting for the Virtus.pro versus Astralis match, basically a game of endurance. Whoever saves more and comes out in the last seconds wins. And of course, everyone is still discussing s1MPLE's debut with the Falcons. The most expensive game in history of CS, the flop of the century, so the headlines are really different, but the most important thing here is that it generated a massive hype wave. And that's a fact, almost 300,000 people watched s1MPLE's debut in peak, which is twice as much as any other hyped Blast match. And here's a funny thing, analysts noticed that s1MPLE actually has a direct impact on Navi, even though he hasn't played there for months. You see, after his departure, Navi's matches started getting 30% less online viewership. That's the s1MPLE effect. His debut was also actively discussed by pro players. Here's what Flosha, for example, had to say: "I think it will be hard for s1MPLE to play like before. This is a different s1MPLE. He's good, but I don't think he will dominate as much." Or the words of Nell: "Would it be cool if s1MPLE stayed with the Falcons? On paper, yes. It's a plus for the team's media coverage and a plus for s1MPLE's finances, but they have to show much more on this server. I would personally prefer a fully Ukrainian Navi lineup, but I think it's impossible." And Richard Lewis even presented a huge theory on what's really happening. You can watch his lengthy video for the full details, but I will just briefly summarize his words. Why s1MPLE moved to Falcons? Falcons have money, that's no secret. Most likely they paid a decent amount for the month-long loan. For Navi, there's no problem with this loan because s1MPLE said he'll return after the major, and Navi definitely want to play the major without him. And by the way, he looks happier when he plays, so this loan is just benefiting him. Essentially, there's only one org in the world that can afford to openly buy s1MPLE, and rumors are circulating that his buyout is around $2 million, and Richard Lewis doesn't really know if this is true or not. Navi is indeed facing a problem with s1MPLE right now. Yes, he's the greatest player in CSGO, he played at the the highest level, but he doesn't like CS2. He talks about wanting to play as a rifler, and it's unclear what to expect from him in the new game. Any team he joins will be in his shadow. He yells at people, constantly criticizes them, and may even undermine the reputation of a team's captain. Even Blade couldn't really control him. Yeah, that's bad, but that's Simple, the one who understands the game perfectly. And even his best teammates didn't understand the game the same way, and he was disappointed by this because it's Simple, he has a champion's mindset and he always wants to win. And now it's not the best year for Simple. He doesn't like CS2, he hasn't played as a rifler for a long time, and theoretically he wants to return to Navi. And Richard Lewis really likes the current Navi lineup. They can reach heights, he say, if given the opportunity. And the last thing Navi want right now is Simple's return, and Richard Lewis has a theory that Navi sends Simple to Falcons because he's the only org capable of buying him, and they really want that, because then they will have a stable team. No one will need to be kicked or replaced, there will be no drama, and they will be able to win again. Navi value trophies, not likes on Twitter, it's in their DNA, Richard Lewis says. So even the worst case scenario for Navi is that Simple will perform well in Falcons, then return, and they will win again. So it's basically a win-win for Navi. Richard Lewis says that their transfer policy is the best he has ever seen. So yeah guys, once again, in short, Simple probably has two options, either to move to Falcons for big bucks and the prospect of Zonic, and they will pay $2 million for him and offer an astronomical salary, or he can wait until the end of the major, and if Navi don't perform well there, then return to the team in place of, for example, Ime. These are the two realistic development options according to Richard Lewis, and also the majority of the community. Friends, what do you think? Which option will happen? Or maybe even something else? Write in the comments below, let's discuss. But not everyone agrees with the hate towards Simple. Apex sided with him and wrote, "Show respect to the greatest." And Wonderful even got a tattoo in his honor. And to finish the news, I would like to talk about cheaters. The other day, CS2 surpassed the mark of 1.5 million players at peak. Cool, great, amazing, but what about cheaters, and how real are these numbers? And then a YouTuber named MZK Show conducted an investigation, and it turned out that after the major update on February 7th, VAC simply got disabled in matchmaking. It's just not there. Forget about it. You can't get banned in matchmaking, even if you turn on all the cheats at once. In my last video, I talked about how cheaters themselves wrote that they can't get banned. They even try everything. Valve just doesn't care at all. Because of this, everyone switched to Faceit. Look, even in my own experience, I played last night, matches were found in a couple of seconds, even faster than in the premiere mode. And there are two options according to the community's opinion. The first one is Valve deliberately disabled VAC to gather more info for their VAC Live anti-cheat, which is based on artificial intelligence. As you know, any AI needs as much info as possible. The more it analyzes cheaters, the better it will be at banning them in the future. And honestly, there's a lot of sense in this. Like, now Valve deliberately gives cheaters complete freedom to fully analyze them and then ban them all at once. In case you didn't know, they already did a similar thing in Dota 2, and it worked. Or, my guys, there's the second option. The last update just broke everything, and now they can't fix it. Subtech, after that update, started working a little differently, and there may be some contradictions in the code. My friends, which option do we believe in? I mean, that would be really cool if the first option is the real one, but if the second, I'm so disappointed. And so, indeed, now, since there is no VAC, on the tier 1 scene, cheaters have appeared as well. In the match between BIG and Gamer Legion at Blast Showdown, an interesting case happened. During a technical pause, Aker's screen was captured, and for some reason he could see player models through walls.
Which helped them be so consistent, but like, yeah, players like Crimbo or like, players like Crimbo or like...
People now debate about whether he saw only teammates or also opponents. What the hell? What's really going on? Did he actually turn on cheats? The community mostly believes that the technical pause happened precisely because of this. They were just fixing the server. And, you know, strange things were happening because it's wrong to see the models of your teammates through walls and all that. Of course, I don't believe in such blatant cheats at tier 1 level. It's simply stupid to do it. But still, the case is amusing. And now, finally, let's move on to the matches of Blast Showdown. The biggest part of the matches of the previous days wasn't the most exciting, so to say. I will just briefly mention it. First, the American CS is in complete chaos, to put it mildly. Team Liquid. Yo, I don't know what to say. First, they get eliminated from the major, and now they're also off the Blast in the first round. I honestly have no explanation. They lost to the Portuguese from SAW, and for the full next month, they will be just resting, just like Falcons. Next, Complexity also got eliminated following the footsteps of Liquid, losing to OG, but at least they will be at the major, so I think they aren't really upset. Plus, their manager mentioned that the tour schedule is just terrible. They played the RMR in Mexico, where there's a 7-hour time difference with Europe, and between the tournaments they had literally a day to move and to prepare and to rest. So they barely slept, jet lag, fatigue and all that. In short, TOs just seem to be doing everything possible to keep American CS at the bottom. Oh yeah, conspiracy theories, I like them. It's us against the world, so American-ish. And yeah, finally, without a chance, Imperial also got eliminated by Monte. I'll remind you, the Brazilians came out 3-0 from the American RMR, and Monte is playing with 2 substitutes. That's basically all you need to know about the difference in levels. On the next day, the matchups were more interesting. For example, Cloud9 versus SAW. It seemed like an easy walk for Boomich's team. The bracket was as easy as it could be. Liquid got eliminated, Complexity got eliminated, and just go and take that last slot, but it didn't go that way. The guys faltered against the Portuguese, and initially everything was going as planned. Axile even pulled off clutches in 1v3.
Heaven. Axile's trying to get active, and he will catch the main frag. Aristos up close, snaps it over, and Axile's got him dead to rights.
The guys took 6 rounds on defense and then finished off on the attack. They won another 6 in a row and the score became 12-9. Does that ring a bell? How many times have we seen such matches where Cloud9 has 2-3 match points but they can't close the map in their favor? Yeah, you've already guessed that. The same thing happened here. From 9-12 they just forgot how to play. It seemed like Groove just wanted to play overtimes to put the pressure on his team or whatever, and they did it. Jokes aside, some strange things happened. 5-0s all over the place. What? Why? How? And in the overtimes, it's more of the same. Cloud9 took 6 rounds in a row on the attack, but in overtimes, it's exactly 0. Hopefully, they just decided to not reveal their tactics before the major. Well, at 12-14, it was a complete mess. Boomich forgot to buy in the last round. He had 6k, but no armor, no weapons, nothing. Great game, gentlemen. It's clear that they just didn't care about this tournament, so that's how Cloud9 lost Nuke. They were up 12-9 and only managed to take 1 more round, and that was already in the overtimes. On the second map, it was even worse. It's supposed to be their pick, Overpass, but it felt like it was SAW's pick. Cloud9 barely managed to take 4 rounds on the attack and the same amount on defense, mostly thanks to winning pistol rounds. Shooting-wise, it was a disaster. Besides Hobbit and Perfecto, no one showed anything. Electronic's stats were 5-14. It's a week before the major and Electronic is just playing with a 0.3 KD. In short, there's nothing to discuss here but disappointment. Cloud9 got eliminated without a chance, 0-2. The only upside to all this is that they will have more time to prepare for the major. Maybe that was basically the idea, the concept and the plan. No more positive things. But you know what, guys? SAW is considered the main discovery of this spring. They've beaten more than one top team already, and according to Kenny, they might even win a major. But there's one team that definitely don't disappoint, and that's Team Spirit. The Dragons faced off against the Americans from Elevate and showed what it means to be out-dunked.
They're showing us something alright. Donk taking it with him. Oh! Big donk! It's not bad. Yeah, welcome to EU.
On Mirage, it was even easier. Donk ran around like a true demon, not giving the guys a chance to catch their breath. It's no wonder everyone considers this team one of the main favorites for the upcoming major. It's an incredible combination of audacity, youth, experience, and skill. And while we all just were admiring Donk, Zontex quietly goes there and takes a 1v3 with no trouble.
Oh dear! Oh dear! Zontix tries to steal it, but he can't stop the plant in time. A bit more damage through this smoke. Don't count Zontix out of this one yet. Moves into the bomb. Yeah. Oh my god, he's sticking it. He's got the kit, and they're not even firing! They call his bluff! No! Pros don't fake, man! Zontix grabs that defuse right from under their nose.
So Team Spirit in their style effortlessly take the match 2-0, and they continue their path to secure a slot in the Blast Finals. Just 2 more wins and they're in. I just hope they won't lose all their energy and motivation before the major. Meanwhile, BIG defeated Gamer Legion, which isn't much of an interest to many. You know, besides discussing if Aker is a cheater or not, but we've already covered that. Moving on, we near to the end of the Blast, and there are only few teams left on the tournament. For instance, OG and Heroic. By all logic, Kixon's lineup should have been much stronger here, or so I thought. But it turned out to be a complete demolition by OG. Heroic just didn't know what to do and they were just force buying all the time, but it didn't work out. Heavy God played exceptionally well, boasting a 1.68 rating across 2 maps, while no one from Heroic even came close to a positive rating. Thus, OG made it to the finals of their bracket, surprisingly. In another match, Metisport easily defeated Monte, and while NIP claimed that the Swedish pro scene is dead, the young lads from Metisport are making it to the finals of their group at Blast. Kudos to them. And I don't really know what to say about the match, it wasn't particularly challenging. And lastly, Spirit versus BIG. So yeah, at the beginning is basically what you expected it to be. Donk in the 3rd round makes an ace. What could possibly go wrong? They closed the first half 10-2. They were doing just fine, the stats were off the charts. And moreover, Spirit were playing on the defense, you know, the weaker side. But something went wrong. When BIG switched to defense, they suddenly started fragging out like never before, and from 2-10 they managed to reach 11-11. Then there was a technical pause, and maybe that's what threw off the Germans, but in any case, in the decisive round they made a complete mess. First, they went to push B for some reason with 1 player down. Then, Creambow saw Chopper in mid and just left. Nice teamwork, he just sold them out. And these guys somehow miraculously took 9 rounds in a row from Spirit. And I sense that Spirit just wanted to make it as painful as possible. Like, they let BIG perform a comeback, but only up to round 11. So then, in the last round, Spirit easily swept aside their opponents, 29 frags from Donk. He's just as consistent as ever, whether online or on LAN, it's all the same to him. As for Vertigo, it just ended as Anubis should have ended, 13-3. That's the kind of score you expect after a first half ended 10-2. Interestingly, the first half here also ended 10-2, but Spirit decided not to play passive and just finished in their favor, 2-0. Thus, Dragons make it to the finals of their bracket. So there are 2 decisive matches left. Whoever wins proceeds to the Blast Finals. The teams might be not the most renowned, but they will surely bring some top-tier action. To make sure you don't miss anything, subscribe to the channel, leave a like and comment whatever you like below. I am not saying goodbye for a long time, guys. See you soon.